Guys, so today we're going to make a really nice apple tart tatin. Really simple, it's 4 main ingredients. So a dessert apple, I'm using Pink Ladies. You need 50 grams of caster sugar, 50 grams of butter, some ready rolled puff pastry sheet, and then to cook it in we need a shallow pan or dish that can go on the stove and in the oven. So if you just decore the apple, and then peel 3 nice little strips from the top and the bottom, and then you just work your way around the apple. You'll have a nice even apple afterwards. So once you've peeled them all you're going to do is just cut them nice and evenly into quarters. Okay, so now we've peeled them all we're going to do is just clean and tidy them up so they're all even. So just get a small little knife and then nick off the 2 little bits of skin that's left, and then just go underneath the core so they're nice and rounded. Okay, so now you've prepped the apples nicely, all we're going to do is just lay them out on a piece of kitchen towel, a little bit of space between them and get the air between them, and then we're going to sit these in the fridge for a couple of hours. I mean, preferably you want to do it overnight to dehydrate them so all that moisture from the apples doesn't go into the tatin and make your pastry go soggy. Okay, so with the puff pastry, just lay it out with an egg and a pastry brush. Smear the egg onto one half of the puff pastry, and then we're just going to fold it in half. The reason why we're doing that is just to strengthen the puff pastry, and then we'll just roll it out slightly so it's nice and even. So we just fold that over in half. You can use a little bit of flour on your bench. The egg we're just using to stick, and then with your trusty cling film, just roll that out so it's nice and stuck together. And when it's nice and even, you take your cooking dish and you're just going to cut around. Okay, so now we've let the apple dehydrate a little bit. We're now going to build the tatin. So you're going to take your softened butter, and the idea is to manipulate that butter, cover the whole base of the pan. Okay, so now it's nice and even. What you're going to do is just spread that sugar again nice and evenly around the pan. Okay, so now we're just going to build the apples around in the pan so they're laying back on each other. The presentation side is going to be showing on the base of the tatin. So if you just neatly going around the pan. Okay, so now your puff pastry's been resting in the fridge. It should be nice and firm. You're just going to lay that on top of the apples, and it should just snugly fit inside. Back of a spoon, just allow pastry to go inside the pan, and then you're just going to tuck that down the side gently, tuck that behind the apples. Okay, so now we're going to put this on the stove at a medium heat. So the idea is to obviously melt that butter, and then the butter and the sugar will then create a caramel. So you want to cook it nice and gently to activate that process. Okay, now you can see that the butter and the sugar is obviously dissolved and it's now coming up to a boil. So you just want to manipulate that and shake the pan a little bit so the sugar and caramel is now going under the apple. And keep that on a medium heat for about 4 or 5 minutes, just until that caramel around the edge starts going nice and golden. Okay, so if you lift the pan up slightly and just roll the caramel around the side of the pan, you should start seeing this beautiful golden colour. When that's nice and even all the way around the pan. Okay, so from there we're going to go straight from the hob into a preheated oven. The oven's at 200 degrees, so we're going to cook that for 15 minutes. Okay, so that's been in for 15 minutes now. You see it's nicely golden brown, and then we're just going to drop the temperature of the oven now, so 180, and cook that for another 20 minutes. Okay, so this has been in the oven. You can see that beautiful golden, really dark, rich colouring around the edge. So that's also been rested for about 20 minutes, and a little bit of pressure on top just to bring everything together. So to turn it out, get a nice flat plate, put it straight on top, and quickly turn it over. Put the plate down, and then just let it fall out of the pan. Reposition the apples if they've just come a little bit loose. And there you have it, apple tart tatin.